That's Judy Garland taking a station break, a railroad station break, one with its very own Oscar-winning song, all based on a true story. Here's Michelle Miller.
Last fall, a cheer went up as a grand hotel from a bygone era got a little closer to opening its doors.
When the hotel was built in 1898, there were a dozen transcontinental passenger trains stopping here every day. All the train passengers would come rolling off the train.
This is the entryway.
They would come in this way and they would walk through this door to get into the lunchroom.
For Allan Affeldt, restoring La Castaneda in Las Vegas, New Mexico is a labor of love.
So this was the main dining room. And of course, it was the biggest, fanciest dining room in all of northern New Mexico.
One of the last vestiges of a vast network of hotels and restaurants that once stretched across the Southwest, all built by the Fred Harvey Company.
There were all these other hotel companies, right, that standardized things like Howard Johnson's and eventually Hilton's and Hyatt's and Marriott's and all that.
But
Fred Harvey was the first one.
Oh, wow. So this room is called?
This is the Santa Fe room.
Diana Clannon is a docent at La Fonda in Santa Fe, one of a handful of Fred Harvey hotels still in operation.
Everywhere you see a city almost, there was a Harvey house. Some of them may have been as simple as a lunchroom. Some of them may have been like the La Fonda, a lunchroom, a restaurant, and a hotel.
An empire built by an immigrant from England who saw a need for good food along the nation's expanding railroad lines.
I think he understood America better than a lot of Americans did at that time.
Stephen Fried's book tells Fred Harvey's story.
He was a traveling salesman for the railroads, and he knew how terrible the food was, especially west of Chicago. And so I think he just felt that if he could do it well, that would change things.
He took his idea to the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad, then the smallest of the competing lines.
Fred Harvey said, well, if I have better food, maybe my railroad will win. And in fact, that's what happened.
Fred Harvey restaurants sprang up as fast as the railroad could build them, with good, fresh food prepared by world-class chefs, good china, and white linen tablecloths.
You'd have London quality food, New York quality food in the middle of New Mexico.
How on earth were they able to keep that level, that high a level of quality control?
The trains brought in fresh food from all these different places. They refrigerated it. You can bring oysters all the way from New York to Arizona.
Top quality food that was served to everyone at a time when that wasn't so popular.
When you're on the train, everybody's on the train. All colors, all classes. Everybody stays in the hotels when they're traveling. Everybody eats in the trackside restaurants.
Add to that perfect service provided by young, smiling women in crisp white aprons who came west by the thousands to work for the Fred Harvey Company.
They had bravery to leave their small towns and to travel on the train. These were unique women.
Perfection in the dining room, perfection in the dorm. We even want perfection in the Harvey uniform.
They became known as the Harvey Girls, memorialized by Judy Garland in 1946.
Come thunder, come lightning, come drizzle, come sleet, come cyclone, come earthquake.
The people gotta eat.
With a song by Johnny Mercer that won the Oscar.
On the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe.
A film that delights Fred Harvey's great-grandchildren to this day.
Not for public consumption.
That whistle down the line?
Keep going.
Reckon that it's engine number 49. It's the only one that sounds that way on the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe.
They were one of America's first female labor forces, and that is really remarkable.
The Harvey Girls, as they were called, left an indelible mark on the American West.
Documentarian Katrina Parks says the Fred Harvey Company was ahead of its time in giving women the opportunity to work and also to escape the strict confines of home.
I see them as early feminists in some ways, even though they wouldn't have perhaps identified that way.
But would you say they civilized the West?
I wouldn't use that term.
But I mean it, did they tamp down the testosterone?
Sure. I think you can say that for sure.
The Fred Harvey Company also hired a woman to be their main architect, the brilliant and intimidating Mary Colter, who designed many of Fred Harvey's grand hotels and invented what we now think of as Santa Fe style.
I never saw my father afraid of much.
Fred Harvey's great-grandson, Charles Daggett Harvey Jr., remembers her well.
Even when he would describe the kamikaze attacks off of Okinawa, he didn't speak of that with fear. But when we spoke of Mary Colter, it was awe.
For more than 50 years, the Harvey Company kept expanding, developing the Grand Canyon and opening America's eyes to tourism and the wonders of the West.
People get fascinated with America, wanting to experience the exotic parts of the West that had to do with seeing Native Americans, to experience different kinds of food, to see obviously the huge big sky out here, which is so amazing.
Have you met Mr. Harvey?
I have. You're Mr. Harvey. How are you?
Welcome.
Every year,
best smile.
Fred Harvey fans, they call themselves Fred heads.
We stayed here, La Fonda.
Gather to honor the Harvey family legacy.
I just want to welcome everybody here.
At La Fonda, there was a dinner prepared by Santa Fe's top chefs.
Beautiful.
Inspired by Fred Harvey's classic recipes.
And we worked right here at La Fonda.
You worked here?
Right here in the 50s.
Among the guests, former Harvey Girls, including twins Beverly and Bernette Nystrom.
We've just become so much a family with the Harveys since we are part of history now.
A family that appears to be growing every year as more and more people rediscover the uniquely American story of Fred Harvey and the empire he built.
Coming up,
let's go.
Moxie, the dog